Inspiration is just a story away.
Welcome to Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie. I'm your host, Dr. Shellie Hipsky. All of our guests have conquered obstacles, risen above adversity, and have gone on to help others. Today's show focuses on eating disorders. Our guest today struggled with the private hell of bulimia. In fact, it almost killed her. To overcome it, she armed herself with knowledge, some of it learned from a mentor, and some from her own understanding of nutrition. Today, she's an eating disorder recovery leader, helping those who are struggling with the same problems that she had. From Atlanta, Georgia, please welcome Dana Masters. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Shellie. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And your necklace is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. I actually received this in the mail. I was so delighted. It came from the WEECE organization in Tanzania, Africa, for the global inspiration we're doing via Joanna Leigh. So I was thrilled to get it. But enough about that. Let's talk about you and your eating disorder and what you went through in your life journey.
Yeah.
I know you brought some photographs, so let's take a peek at that.
Sure. This is me at age 17. The foundation is being laid for where I would say that eating disorders switch flipped when I was 19. I had made a very bad decision, the worst of my life, when I was 14 years old, and that was to go on a diet. And right here, I'm 23. In the crux of the eating disorder, throwing up from 3 to 30 times a day, for sure that meal does not stay down. That's a given. There's no way that food's staying down there. This is around the same time, and things got really horrific before I met my angel, really, who I call my Jewish godfather when I was 27. At the age of 23 to 27, I really lost my life. Everything was stolen from me by the eating disorder, and my entire body started to fall apart. I had my intestines eaten away at from the malnourishment that had gone on for years and years. I would get something called tetanus, where my limbs would actually curl up, and they'd be actually sore the next day because I couldn't release them for, it could last from anywhere for 15 minutes to an hour. I had a hard time climbing flights of steps. Nobody would pick me out of a crowd to have an eating disorder. You couldn't see it.
Really? Because most people, they think eating disorders are going to be really, super emaciated and thin all the time.
That can happen, but you can also blow up like a balloon because your metabolism is absolutely destroyed. And the less you eat, the slower your metabolism goes. The less you keep in, the slower your metabolism goes. And so it is a downward spiral that really picks up speed the longer it goes on, every day that it goes on.
So the lowest point for you was?
It was definitely right before I met Dr. Fishman, and I really did not know how to go on another day if the eating disorder went on another day. I self-sought all of the help that I received, traditional, alternative. I became a holistic health practitioner myself and studied various forms of body work, all in an effort to heal myself. And nothing was working.
Let's take a peek at you beginning to get well after you met Dr. Fishman.
Yes, so Dr. Fishman, the understanding of the famine effect was my missing puzzle piece. And here I am a very happy girl. I'm about 1.5 years into what is called my rebuilding process, where literally all the damage that was done internally, it's like a construction site within the body when you start bringing in tissue building food. And there I am again around the same time. My entire life transformed. I went from not being able to really engage in the world, in relationships, to completely and fully present, not just with myself but with others, and really able to pursue my work and the blessing that that's my little baby. That's my baby.
There's your Jackson.
That's when I'm pregnant with Jackson. It's a couple of years, about 2.5 years into my healing, and he's the gift. I could have never shared myself, shared my life with another human being. I learned how to take care of myself through my healing process and really master the art of self-care. That it's what I teach him, it's what I teach all my girls and guys that I work with, and I am just absolutely touched and blessed every time I have an opportunity to reach out and touch the hearts of somebody who is suffering.
That's wonderful.
Needlessly, quite frankly.
So amazing. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Fishman,
Yes.
kind of, you say he gave you this gift, and
He did.
How
He
did
did.
that happen?
He has been doing this work on, it's really focusing on the biological aspect of the illness, not coming from a mental illness perspective, and it changed everything for me. All of the issues that were more phantom issues once the tissue building food came in. He's been doing this work for nearly as long as I'm alive. He's about 78 years old. He's based in Mountain View, California. He's a Stanford professor, and he's my man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, more about your man and Dana when she comes back a little later in the show. But when we return, we'll meet two people who have been deeply affected by her work with eating disorders. One's a mother whose son struggled with anorexia. Another is a young woman whose life was changed by Dana's program. Please stay with us.
Hi, my name is Lynn DiMaggio, Mrs. Alabama, International 2011. I have 5 boys, Dylan, Devin, Dustin, Michael, and Marcus, 3 dogs, and my loving husband, Tony. It was so interesting the way my husband and I met. We actually met on a blind date at a Mardi Gras ball in Mobile, and if you know anything about Mobile, Alabama, it's the birthplace of Mardi Gras. Tony had never been married, never had children. After facing, a major health issue, I was no longer able to have biological children. It was very disheartening to know that I would not be able to biologically carry my current husband's children. Through my experience with adoption, I understand the joy and the happiness that it's brought to my life as well as my husband and my family's life in general. I selected Independent Adoption Center as my charity of choice because I love what they stand for. It's truly about embracing love, children, family, and life.
Remember, we want to know what's inspiring you, so be sure to go to inspiringlivesinternational.com and tell us your story. Today we've been talking about eating disorders and the amazing work being done by Dana Masters. Joining us now today are 2 people who have been helped by Dana's program. Please welcome Melissa and Ashley. Welcome so very much from the bottom of my heart for coming in from North Carolina today, both of you. First, I'd really like to start with your story. I know you both met through knowing each other in North Carolina, which is great that you were able to help her out. But I want to start with your story and your son, Elliot, because a lot of people think anorexia, bulimia, eating disorders, they think, oh, it's a beautiful young lady like Ashley. They don't think about a boy. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, my son Elliot was in 4th grade, just shy of his 10th birthday. Noticed him losing weight and took him to our family doctor. The pediatrician found that he had lost 10 pounds within the span of a few months. At the time, had no idea the road that we would travel. Took him to the nutritionist, standard path of recovery, and thinking that that was going to be it, we'd be done. Through many doctors, numbering 45 before we found Dana, and the doctor she works with in California, we were putting Band-Aid on the physical piece, not knowing that his brain was suffering extremely. We're in a rebuilding phase right now, and really working hard with Dana, and thank God we found her.
Wow, that's amazing. 45 doctors. As a mother, I can't imagine that frustration.
As a young boy, it was hard to find treatment. In the meantime, between the initial diagnosis and finding Dana, we found the doctors grasping at straws. Between labeling him, diagnosing him with Asperger's was the first one, depression, OCD, ADHD, the medications that we went through that were put into Elliot's little growing body it was horrendous.
And you said that last night, you said that there was even talk of putting him in a psych ward with adults, which just got my stomach when you said that.
When he was first diagnosed, we saw his affect becoming flat. He was there, but he was barely there with us, going through the motions is what I say. It was October and the end of December, we found out we had to put him in a hospital because his organs were failing. They quickly put a gastro tube in order to get nutrition into him. It stayed in for 6 weeks. I think it was 8 weeks. And 3.5 years later, he has grown finally. We had 3 years of no growth, no weight gain for the most part, and we're seeing him beginning to thrive again.
Oh, thank God for Dana and for Dr. Fishman, and that he's on this road to recovery. And Ashley, you're on a road to recovery too. So tell me what it feels like being a young woman and talking about food, thinking about digesting food. What goes through your mind?
I think there's a ton of pressure on young girls, and I see it every day. I remember for me in high school, it kind of started, I always played sports, so I had a healthy initial diet, and I knew I needed to eat to be strong, and I worked out constantly. And when I went out to college, I think I just got nervous. You know, you hear about the stigma of the freshman 15, and you're not going to be able to have home-cooked meals every night, and that, for me, that was really frightening. And I think I just went down this having complete control of my diet and limiting what I ate and working out constantly. It became a very quick obsession, and it just got to a really bad point. When I got into my studies and my major, I allowed that to become an excuse for kind of putting off eating. And again, I began to lose weight, and I got really obsessed with it. And it's just really scary, I think, seeing a lot of other people around me. There's a lot of similar situations with young girls that have this idea or a perception of what they want to look like or they need to look like, and there's just no healthy, real way that you're able to do that on your own unless you have the knowledge and understanding that I'm so grateful to have now that I've met Dana.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm so glad you have. And I'm a college professor, so I see this a lot. And I've had my own struggles with the eating and wanting to look a certain way, and particularly, now I'm on camera. So, but back when I was your age, I went through some similar type of things. So my heart goes out to you, and I'm so proud of you for having the strength to come on a show and talk about that, and so that other young women can find out about it, and mothers of boys, so that they can find out about it.
Exactly.
Yes. So what is it that Dana and Dr. Fishman do that's so different? I mean, it seems like 45 doctors. There's some like magic cure almost, it sounds like, with Dana. So what is it? What's the difference?
Our experience was the food piece, the food that needs to go into Elliot's body in order for his brain to function at the capacity it needs to function for a growing child. And the education, the no-nonsense, the trust that Dana allowed is unbelievable. We got to know her quickly, and for my child to immediately trust her, he has her cell phone number in his little cell phone, and he can call her at the drop of the hat.
It is little cell phone.
It's unbelievable.
So you can trust her. I love that. I mean, I think that's a huge thing, especially when you're going through these things that are very emotional. It's great to have someone that you can trust.
It is.
What does that mean to you, Ashley?
So much. I mean, at first, I'm not going to lie, it was very scary for me. I didn't want to admit that I had a problem. I didn't know I had a problem, but obviously I had the concern of people around me. And when I met Dana, there was just an immediate friendship, and I knew that she genuinely cared, and she's always made herself available to me, like any time of day or night. I know I can call Dana. Like, she's my lifeline. So it's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that she's your lifeline, and I'm glad that we're able to tell others about what's going on and how there is hope for people and mothers that are dealing with eating disorders. So thank you so much for being on the show. After a quick pause, Jennifer Hain joins us with this week's Gratitude Giving segment. Then we'll spend a little more time with Dana Masters, and we're going to ask her, what is the secret gift within the illness? Don't go away.
It's just a story away.
Welcome back to Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie. We're now in the gratitude giving segment of our show, and I'd like to welcome Jennifer Hain.
Thank you for having me. So today we will be talking about a product that is definitely hot right now. Signing Works has come out with a new product called the Signing Doll.
Oh wait, I think we have an extra guest, an extra visitor in studio. My son has named Bobby the Bunny, and he actually has a little hearing aid here. And his hands move. Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. So the Signing Doll is created specifically for the hearing impaired, children who can communicate with the doll just as a child would communicate with their own doll. It allows them the opportunity to interact, and they can move their fingers and actually speak with them. So it's a really unique product. So it's been a hit with the company, and they also have interesting other products on their website at signingworks.net. And we actually have a video to show today that shows how children actually interact with these products.
Wonderful. Well, as a former special education teacher myself, I was an assistant principal at a school for special needs, and now I'm a professor at Robert Morris University working with future teachers on how they can best work with special needs. And when I met Rob Hartley, who's involved in this project, I was thrilled and loved it, because all children need to learn how to communicate regardless of challenges.
Absolutely.
So let's take them to the tape.
The Signing Dolls have been a good success because on February the 14th, 2012, we delivered them to every deaf school in the nation. These were made by the Harrison family. They came up with the idea and the concept. They've helped the deaf throughout their lives, and they created a doll that has multiple fingers where you can actually sign with this. This not only helps the deaf, but it helps communicate for all kinds of people that need communication skills. The pictures you're seeing right now is children that received these sign language dolls. They were happy, they were excited, and one of our dolls we call Emily, she was a good star, and she was a celebrity that day because the Lions Club made this dream come true. And how about this boy from Puerto Rico? He got his rabbit, he was smiling, and we weren't sure which one was happier. Was it the rabbit, or was it for the young deaf boy from Puerto Rico? As you can see, another little girl, she wanted to sign with her deaf sign language doll because it makes a difference.
Dr. Shellie Hipsky's latest book, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Planet, is inspiring lives around the world. Find your copy at major bookstores and on Amazon.com.
And welcome back to Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie. We've been talking today about eating disorders. Dana Masters dug herself out of that pit, and now she helps others to do the same. So Dana, you were backstage when Melissa and Ashley were out here talking about how you've helped them. What did that feel like?
They become like family to me. And I cannot even describe the feeling that I feel knowing that I used to have to light a candle every night because I needed hope. And now I get to see other people's lives completely transform before my eyes. And really, there is no greater gift.
That's
no
awesome.
Greater gift.
Because you're in their candle now. You're lighting it for them. So that's beautiful. So you talked to me last night about this secret gift within the illness. What in the world? Like some people would say, what could be a gift from bulimia or anorexia?
That's right, and you'll even see with the artwork that will be coming up, that we'll be looking at, it's inconceivable. How can something so horrendous transform into something that I would call a gift? And it really was. There was a secret within the shadow of the illness, and I did not realize at the time that all of the mechanisms that were running, all of the issues, that I was really misunderstanding. It was almost like lost in translation, you know. I almost liken myself now to that I am the eating disorders translator. What is it really saying?
Let's look and see what you came up with visually to describe what you were going through.
So the Cyclops, I actually had a name for this entity, because the eating disorder was like a voice. It was like something that followed me around. From the time I woke up, opened my eyes until I went to sleep at night, it was always there, sometimes in my dreams. And so I started painting and illustrating this image that was ever present. And here is another one, and you can see in the background, I had a lot of figures that that were always bound, and this voice, this presence, always around, almost like it was consuming me.
Interesting. Let's keep looking.
And the shape of the image was really something that was that came up over and over and over again over the years, and that is, I think, the inner turmoil inside, just seeking, ever seeking, for a path through, out to the other side. I didn't want to manage something unmanageable. I wanted freedom.
Right.
I wanted freedom.
At all costs?
I wanted freedom, because as you can see here, it's again the Cyclops, and it's like I called it the Prince of Darkness as well, but really it was like it became a dark angel, and that's the illness transformed from dark into light, and really is my strength and power and meaningful connection that I have with life now.
I think this is our last one.
Yes, this is when you can see the word home and a heart in the mind, because the mind is always taken by the eating disorder, and it was my home again. Yeah. It was my home again.
And you know, I'm glad this is our last one. I think it's just stunning. I know you're a trained artist, but wow, what a vision.
Thank you, thank you. This is from a series called the Bride series, and it really is about the marriage, the spiritual union within yourself, and moving into your divine place in life, and
which you
really
certainly are.
Yes, I am.
You really are. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So yes, you've been through this road, you've been through this journey. Yeah. Are you healed? Are you recovered? Are you there? What are you
darling,
yes,
I am.
Fantastic.
I have been for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I say when I say recovered, I say full recovery, because I don't manage anything, and that's the difference about what really changed for me. Is it doesn't mean that I'm immune, and I'm going to make this very short because of time for us. But if food were if I even got the flu, okay, I would have to really watch the biological mechanism that would very easily be triggered in me, because my body knows famine so well. So well. And that could trigger there in the thought system, the feeling, the perceptions of self and the world that are eating disorder related. And so even I'm free, but that is remembering, that's why remembering that what I have today is a gift. Yeah. And as long as I keep doing the food
and in the correct way,
I will be free.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's real food. Yeah. It is real food. It's food that heals the brain.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you give us a little example of what that would be?
Tissue-building food.
Okay.
What builds a cell? You need protein, you need fat, and you need a carbohydrates to get the protein and fat to work together.
Okay.
Our brain is almost all fat and protein. Well, think about somebody who doesn't eat fat. Our brain is very unhappy with that.
Right.
Yeah, our body, you cannot cheat the system. Your body will go at itself.
Okay. Well, wow. I mean, this is like a nutritional lesson and an uplifting message all in one, which I so completely appreciate you bringing it to Inspiring Lives with Dr. Shellie. It's just been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you with all my heart.
Thank you. Thanks not only to Dana, but also to her clients who joined us today to talk about their own battles with eating disorders. Dana's success demonstrates that while eating disorders can be deadly, with the correct treatment, there is hope and recovery. Like many in our audience, I've had my own struggles with food over the years. Thankfully, never to the extremes that we've heard about today. But I'm relieved to know there are angels out there like Dana who are doing incredible work to help others. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, I'm Dr. Shellie Hipsky, and remember, inspiration is just a story away.
Just to make it through another day, but a guiding hand that can understand